Hey guys, it's Rachel Castille. Today I'm out in the park and I just got on my heart to share with y'all the journey I've been on regarding boundaries, honoring my flow, and beginning to give birth to my creativity and seeing what needs to shift in order to walk in that, to enjoy my life, to give voice to all that God has put in me. And yeah, you have to have boundaries around what you love, or you're not choosing it, you're not prioritizing it, you're not making a way for it to grow, to germinate. Like, you have to do this in your relationships. Like my relationship with God, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with friends, my business, my relationships in regards to my own purpose, and governing and stewarding the assignments that God has given me. And God is teaching me how to let love flow to all those places, and why it's important that I honor my energy, I honor the way God created me, that I am stewarding who He created me to be, and arranging my life in such a way that I can always be her. I can always give her position and a place to express all that she is. This sounds kind of funny, I'm talking about myself in the third person, but like this is how we have to live. We have to have relationship with ourselves. And that's what God has entrusted me with, is me, my life, my assignment, my purpose. And this is a process of recalibrating, aligning with the voice of God in all things. And what I found is, in the journey of the external, the building, the establishing of things, it always brings me back to loving myself, my relationship with myself, and honoring what is life-giving to me. And so something practical, a boundary that God has shown me for my creativity, for my relationships, for my business, is taking time of rest. Having my weekends off where I can feel that I don't have any obligations driving me. Like, God is teaching me that obligation is not something that's supposed to be in my life at all. My business is something I love. The people that I talk to, God is bringing them into my life for a reason. And I want to always be in a place in my relationships and every conversation that I never take anything as like, oh, I got to get this done. Like, I don't want anything in my life to just feel like a task. I just got to get this done. This is my list. And yeah, God's been healing me a lot from seeing how performance-y I can be, from being like overwhelmed, or being just so like grading myself by the list, grading myself by what I've accomplished, things like that, or perfectionism and in what I do. Like, God's shown me how to untether from all of those types of self-judgments or scales. Yeah, the scales I use to judge myself. And this relates to my music. Music has been a massive part of my life, but at the same time, it's needed healing. It's needed to be unlocked. And this has been this emotional journey that God has taken me on to open my creativity up again, that it would be a source of joy for me and overflow, that I get to realize everything I get, that I am, my gifts, that they're for my joy and the solution of something in the world, the various things, whether it's writing a song, selling a product, coaching someone, Like the gifts that I have, they are part of what brings me joy as well. And so that's part of it. Boundaries started a long time ago, where you have to have boundaries around what you love, to choose what you love, to admit what you love. That was a big thing for me. To admit what you want to do with your time and your energy. And yeah, like you have to make these choices in alignment with your energy, in alignment with your heart, with what God created you for. And so something like that could be like buying an instrument. You're choosing like, hey, I see this for myself. This is a part of what I love. I want to move in this direction. For me, starting a home business, this is the lifestyle I want. I want the freedom to add value on the go and not be tied down to a specific job. I want like what I'm doing to be my purpose, you know. So entrepreneurship was a boundary and a choice that was part of me beginning to honor the life I want, you know. And I'm seeing each one of these choices, they add up. They begin to shift my life. And then learning like, how do I flow where all that I'm doing, in all that I'm doing, I'm in the presence of God. I know what I bring in this moment. I know what I want to give. I can see what God is prompting me to receive from people. Like I always want that flow to be present in all that I do. I never want anything I do. I don't want my content to feel like something I needed to check off of a list. Responding to somebody, I never want that to feel like, oh, I need to do this, you know. And so it's just like learning to have that love for myself in all that I'm doing, knowing that I'm not defined by these external things, but I share what I am with the world, you know, and I receive what they share with me. I receive that love, that support, that affection, that affirmation in my purpose, and receiving and honoring their gifts and sharing what I have as well. So this is the life I want, and it's required boundaries. Like something, I'll share this because it's significant. It's been a development of seeing what is healthy for me, what is healthy for my relationships. And so I'll just say this practically. I feel like hesitant to like say, oh, business hours, but like I really see this. But yeah, like after 8 p.m., God is just showing me like that's my time with my husband. That's my time for family. And then my weekends, like no business on the weekends. And that was just God showing me like to surrender my business fully, to rest and to recharge. And my music is starting to wake up. Like I'm getting vision and heart for playing guitar again and writing. And it's like you have to have pockets of rest that you protect for who you are to flow, and for you to enjoy all aspects of what you're called to do, that it don't feel like, you got to do this, you're behind, God's expecting this of you. It's like, no, God gave you your gifts to enjoy them, to create from that intimacy with God. Hey, how you doing, Marty? I'm really glad you could be on. Yeah, and I'll just say, Margie, it's such a joy having you in my life. Like, I'm sharing on my creativity, and it's waking up. Like, I'm so glad to be teaching you guitar and what it's doing in my heart right now. Like, God is shifting that everything I do should be joy. It should be beautiful. It should be my heart getting an opportunity to tell the truth. That's how God is showing me. Truth being that dictating thing in my life, that I have the freedom to share my truth right now. And that creating content is just an opportunity to share my truth. Writing a song, an opportunity to share my truth and to share what God has done in me. And it's been a deliverance from perfectionism, from people pleasing, and how my identity can be so wrapped up in those pursuits that I'm not actually choosing a life I want to live. You know, I'm not honoring the flow of my energy, honoring the topics that are really on my heart that I want to talk about. So what I found, like this freedom to get back in alignment with my creativity, to get back living a life that I actually want, I had to look at what I'm serving. It's not always conscious. It's like, why can't I access everything that God has created me for? Why is it in the future? Why is it some after I get this done, I need to get this, this, and this done? It's like I was seeing like the list define me, not in a way, it's like it's an area of my heart where I'm not actually letting God speak. That's what I'm seeing. Where it's like, in a way, like God's uncovering shame that was driving me still and keeping me from being accessible. I think that's what it is, like being accessible to God, being accessible to people, where there's this continual flow. So that's what God's teaching me, that the flow of the Spirit can always be there if you're willing, if you're surrendered. And it's like God begins to show the value of what you carry and what it's for. And a big part, I'll talk about this. So if you have a calling where, I'll take something that's like an extreme so you can see it. But yeah, if you're called to be the president and you're just trying to be a janitor and calling it, this is my service, you know, I'm doing this unto the Lord. It's like you could be sincere, but you're out of alignment. And that's what I'm seeing in my own life. Like I'm assigned to do writing. Like I'm supposed to be making albums. Like I know that. I've seen it. God has shown me these things. And it's like, how do I come into the reality of that? And God's showing me it's the false humility that keeps me busy doing something else that's not actually, it's me judging myself by something that doesn't actually define me. Therefore, I'm off managing these other things because I'm not letting my music be out there, letting what I actually have to say be what my content is, whatever it is, you know, like business, all of these things are kind of the same to me. For my business to be what it's meant to be, I have to honor my voice. For my music to be what it's meant to be, I need to honor my voice, like every part of me, you know. And this is this breakthrough that's happening in me. Coming out of the lie that it's, I don't know what to say. Let me criticize that. No, I need to erase that. I need to do it again. All of that. It's more about my partnership with managing something that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to deliver the message that comes out of me, to let it flow. Like that's what I'm actually called to do. And that's where you can be on a path that almost seems like it's like years of personal growth to get breakthrough. It's not real. It's, hey, you're choosing to appeal to this thing over here. Just let that go. You don't have to manage that no more. And out of nowhere, you're right back in your heart flow and letting God use you the way you were created to be used. The thing in your heart just needs expression. That's what God is showing me. That when we surrender to God, it's not actually complicated. It's more about letting go of the fear and the control I've seen in my life. It's been control. There's something I'm trying to manage and control and prevent, and it's preventing the flow of the Spirit in my life as well. Thank you, Margie. About my music, thank you so much. Yeah. And it can be as simple as like pausing, resting. Like I could try to prevent like, oh, I don't want no awkward pauses in my life. Like maybe that's when God uses me the most, is when I let go, you know? And I've disqualified myself because I'm managing something. I'm over like, oh, let me do that again. Let me cut that out. Because I got this ideal of how I want what I create to be, you know? I'm like, oh, the wind is blowing out here. It's super windy. I'm gonna have to go home. I can't do this live. When I first, like the wind was crazy when I was about to start this. I'm like, it's gonna sound horrible, I'm thinking. And it's all those things. Like that could just throw off what God's wanting to do. I saw God leading me here. I keep being reminded of different parts of my life that are significant. Like this is something I love. Like that's something God is showing me. You love to be in nature. Like, will you give yourself what you actually want in life? Will you make that choice and choose to live the life that I've created for you to live now? You have to choose it. Like, I let people's criticism, words against me, teasing me, stuff in my childhood to cause me to not even choose the things I love because I don't want to be made fun of. It's like the childhood pattern of that. And I realized like it's me as an adult not choosing what I actually want. That's something that God is showing me. It's like in your freedom, you can be bound. Like I work from home. I love it. So my time in actuality is free. Like in terms of where I can be, where I work from. And then I get to decide, do I live a life that's still stressed out in a whole nother way? Like I just create more rigid stuff on me. Or I can actually like choose a life that I actually want to live, you know? And, that's what I was seeing, like God just showing me, slow down, just be obedient, that the visions that are coming to me, the things that God is showing me, like, hey, trust me in this, go walk here, go do that, go live, that when I go live, God starts teaching me things. It's not just, oh, I've got some complete message to share with y'all. It's part of God slowing me down to hear His voice in all things. Bless you, Mindy. Glad you're on here. Yeah. Margie's so true. I'm choosing me, myself above all else. Yes, sis. That's what actually loving your neighbor as yourself looks like. You love yourself so you can love your neighbor. And when you honor your energy, you have the boundaries you need to be able to flow as you in all things. What you're doing is you're stewarding the flow of the Spirit, that it never gets shut off ever, which is the best thing that you can do for other people. And that's why I'm seeing a live like this. It's valuable to communicate the healthy boundaries that God has given me of rest and balance, and God's showing me how to get out of this condemnation that I didn't realize that was very active in my life. Very. Yeah. I'll talk about like being in business. I talk to a lot of people. Like I have a lot of relationships, and I'm seeing that God is like just blessing me with different giftings, different people around me. And for me to never get overwhelmed, it's just like in the flow of the Spirit, God will show me who to talk to, what to give, what to receive from them. And just like being in that alignment, being in the flow of that. And God's teaching me that anything he gives me is not to overwhelm me. It's just a blessing. It's just an addition. It's an expansion, right? And I lived so much, most of my life, in social anxiety and feeling so defined by whether I showed up or I responded at a certain time, or, you know, now I didn't, so now this person's waiting on me, and like all of this like condemnation that it's like I got to get the to-do list done. And I didn't like that energy where talking to people started to feel like either I owed something, like I'm behind, I've done something wrong. So it's like I got to get this done. So you're like trying to catch up on the people you're late for, and then new things are coming in. Like this sort of state of mind, right? That's not peace. It's not the flow of the Spirit. It's not honoring of me. Yeah. This whole consciousness that I didn't notice I was in, or that there was another way to live. I think that's what I'm saying. I didn't know life didn't have to feel this way. Right? Where you like, I gotta go take a break. And it's like more so the way I manage things emotionally makes you go, it's that idea of like, I need to go binge and then I need to come back. It's like the religion, I need to put a rule on myself again because, you know, and then now I need a break from the religion. It's like that swinging back and forth thing. That's neither side is the flow of the Spirit. And that's what God's showing me in my own, like, my own self-love, right? God doesn't treat me that way. That's not God's voice leading me into my to-do list, leading, like taking the life out of the gifts given to me. People are a gift, a blessing. Opportunities is a gift, a blessing. And I love the light that comes from relationship. People may never know, but like moments of interacting can be a light in an area that gets processed for days of what was revealed in moments with people. And I love that. I've come to know that the light of relationship helps me see how God wants me to live. It reveals, okay, I now can see that this emotional pattern is not serving me anymore. Mindy said, I'm in a huge shift. I feel it's the end of one way and new beginnings. Keep me lifted, sis. Absolutely, I will. Yeah. Bless you in that, sister. I relate, like, this shift, I feel like that's why God is telling me, open up and talk about the process of the undoing, of the transition. Yeah, but I'll definitely keep you in prayer, sis. Yeah. This unwinding where circumstance, situation doesn't move me out of my peace, out of my intimacy with God. That you could be going through something horrible, but the lesson is calling for your surrender in some area where it's like you find that nothing can stop the flow of the Spirit in your life. Hey, Mac. Glad you're on today. Good to see you. Yeah, just the flow of the Spirit is the most important thing. That's what God is teaching you. Like the vision that you have for your business, the vision you have for your relationships, the life you want to live, it's given to you. You've seen it. And coming into that where it's not, I hustled, I strive to get here. And because of that, now I got to make sure I hustle and strive to keep it or to not lose it. This is another consciousness that I've related to a lot of my life, where it's like, if I live that way, then as a leader, I'm preaching such a thing as well. I'm like, this got me here, you need to do it too. And I'm starting to see like, wait, something is flawed. There's something in my soul that needs to shift. so that all that I do can be just life-giving. All that comes into my life is just life-giving. It's not overwhelming. It's not just a list of things to do. And it's a choice of my heart. I'm coming to this point that I choose to believe I don't have to live that way. I choose to believe that I don't have to be overwhelmed. I don't have to be shutting people out. I don't have to control the external and try to manage these external things. That God can just show me that my energy, the flow of the Spirit, will just move things in order. It's like when the Spirit is the priority, you look up and all the things got done. I didn't hyper focus on the list. I wasn't defined by the list. And if anybody knows the Enneagram, these sorts of things is related to my heart journey. I'm a 2-wing 3 in the Enneagram. Like, it's a understanding of emotional patterns, childhood coping strategies, what I found my identity in, and things like that. So it's like, for me, having my identity in who I am in other people's lives, the helper that I am as a type 2, and then type 3 kind of brings in that sense of that fear of failure, and I've got to be successful, and how I look, and vanity in a way. So it's those sorts of things that, but the gifting of my type is that it's unconditional love without a string attached. And like looking at the virtues that God is training me in and actually embodying is more how to be love and how to be authentic is kind of the virtues that God has called me to teach and embody and to share and unlock in other people. When you look at the giftings, that's how they work. It's like we're all a image of God. You know, we are an aspect of the divine, and as we walk in union with Holy Spirit, we will be a depositor, a dispenser of those virtues, and we can unlock them in other people. So it's not about, oh, this is my personality type, this is the way I am, you're that, I'm this. No, it's more like it speaks back to the importance of fellowship. That in community, you have all things. In community, you have just grace to grow in all things when you honor other people. I can honor a gifting, and now I'm growing in that gifting too, because I've honored it. I'm learning from it. I'm being mentored by it. And that doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, you're my mentor. Well, maybe God does speak that way and lets you know, hey, this person's going to mentor you in this attribute. But you can have that heart posture with all people. You can be that way with quote unquote adversarial things, right? It can all teach me something. So whenever you honor what something can do to you and bring into your life, then all things begins to be a vehicle in which God can teach you through. All things. Like, if I trip and fall, I can learn something from that. If somebody makes fun of me, I can learn something from that. I can learn from anything when you let God speak to you through it. Hey, Pastor Job. So glad to see you on here. I miss you and your wife. Y'all are such a blessing. Yeah. I'll bring this up as well because this is a huge shift. We're moving out the country much sooner than we thought. And seeing you here made me think of that. I had in my heart to share on that. But so yeah, our timeline, we are heading to Cameroon first. We're going to be out there from the end of December into February, and then we're transitioning back to Kenya. So I'm so happy, and I'll be sharing more with you guys. But this is all back to the creativity, back to boundaries and letting God show me. And at its core, God is showing me we are meant to live in the presence of God in the now. We're meant to be the divine essence of God now. So I gotta look and invite God to reveal in my life, what am I doing? What am I partnered with that's throwing my alignment off? You see the vision clearly. And why is it just in the future? It's because if I'm out of alignment, I just keep walking, I won't get there. So I have to look at myself. If I have a self-concept, hey, I'm in the will of God, I'm doing what God is saying, I'm sincere in all my actions, and there's no breakthrough, I'm not on the trajectory to the place that God called me and showed me. You can see the vision of the Spirit. A lot of times you're getting dreams, you're getting visions, you see things. It's because your spirit man is perfect. It wants to be what it is. So you're seeing what is actually available for you. And there's no need for anybody to ever be jealous of anybody, because literally everything that's meant for you is fully been revealed to you. It's already poured out. God has already given it. It just takes trust and intimacy with God to find it, to get on the path of it. And yeah, hello, how you doing? Yeah. And in seeing that, as God speaks to you and shows you that future, that intention, you look across the street and you're like, oh my God, they got this and I don't have that. That could be a consciousness, but the reality is whenever you spend time with God, you will see your future. You will see what God has for you. It's just the nature of God. God is good. God is a loving Father, and you were sent here for a purpose, on purpose. And those that desire it, it is revealed. Like, God has no intention to hide it from you whatsoever. It's just that journey of the soul. It's the journey of the individual to desire that more than all the other things. You know, like, you could have acceptance, you could have community, and it could be at the expense of your purpose, the expense of your real identity. So it's more, I almost see it as addictions we have to let go of. And if we can begin to see it that way, then we can actually see the path forward. That there are certain types of things that I think I can't live without. And that becomes that possession, that thing that's, what's that guy, the rich young ruler, where he went away sorrowful because he had great possessions. He's like, that's too costly. So that speaks to a lack of trust. We don't trust God, and we don't take time to discover how trustworthy he is. So we access all things that God has for us through the honesty. If you want to build a relationship, best way is to be honest about what's going on in your heart. And that's how we approach God. Like, God, I'm super afraid to trust you with this. Like, I don't know that you're good in this area. And now you have the chance of being heard and then being responded to. So it's like, okay. This inclination God's showing me, go here. I'm going to just go to this fellowship or whatever. And somebody speaks something into your life that shifts something. And you're like, wow, God, I'm only here because you told me to come here. And then this happened, and wow, okay, you are speaking to me. Wait, maybe you are trustworthy in this area. So it's more about being honest with God. That's how you start a relationship. And being obedient, stepping out. God's going to give you something that you have grace for. You might not have grace to just step right into being the president, but you can go serve here. You can go do something that God told you that begins that trust with God. And then you'll begin to like trust God with the big things that he's actually called you to do. But so yeah, you access it through relationship. And yeah, God's gonna do it. There's nothing that you've ever seen in somebody else's life. And I'll put a caveat on what I'm about to say. If you desire it, God has it for you. God's gonna give you the desires of your heart. I don't want what some people have because I don't desire it. So look at what you desire, surrender it to God, see it, and believe it and agree with it. And then follow the flow of the Spirit. Because the Spirit's going to lead you moment by moment. God doesn't want you chasing and trying to attain the vision. God wants to lead you and guide you. That you realize the God that you are, your actual divinity, we're just as much God and man like Yeshua was God and man. He came to display how we move as dual citizens, as how we flow in both. So that same reality, as God is leading you, God is wanting you to see that the things, the abundance, is not external. It comes from you living as you truly are. And all of those things are just simply appropriate. They're the things you need to do your assignment. If you need resources because you have vision to build this, you want to build a city, well then the money is in the plan. The abundance is in the plan. Whatever it is. Whatever you see that you want to do in life, God put that in your heart for a reason. And when you begin to move and trust the flow of the Spirit to bring it about, you're no longer trying to attain it in of your own independence from God. You're just in agreement. And what I've found is that the lessons that God is teaching me is way more important than the attainment of what I think is going to fulfill me. So just trust and know what you've seen, it's for you. And God will bring you to it. But what I found is that my heart was closed and I didn't consciously know it. I didn't think my heart was closed. But sometimes if you're trying to get to where God has shown you, you're thinking it's going to be just you. And God was like, that vision had 100 people in it too. So when are you going to let those 100 people in your life? When are you going to start to develop the relationships and steward when somebody is in front of you? Or are you just like too busy? Are you too trying to manifest it? And I'm finding the heart of God is so for people. It's almost like wealth is cloaked to those who don't love people. So I'd much rather go through the life lesson of learning God's heart for people and to see the more you care about community and the more like you're stewarding those relationships, then things begin to flow in your life. Is what you're doing just for you, yours, and your own. Conviction, I think that's being shown in America right now. We have not ideals against ideals. We have compassion against selfishness, self-preservation. So I've come to see that the light is a huge component in society. We have to be willing to live in the light and to be seen. If an identity is propped up through isolation, it's probably not the truth, you know? I've had moments where I could get frustrated if you're in certain social circles and you feel like, for me, I lived most of my life protecting my pearl, my precious pearl, that it wouldn't get stomped out. And there's maybe truth to that in different environments where you're like, I'm not actually where I need to be. I am waiting on these people to go with me, and they're just looking for an opportunity to discourage me. So that's a reality. But so part of having light in your life and why it's so important, you sometimes have to move into different circles to see something about yourself that is actually true when a previous environment was just putting just some bombarding like thoughts towards you that you're having to like fend it off, protect yourself and push that over there. Like the crab in the bucket thing. So that's a reality. But in general, we have to seek the light. We have to be okay with the light of truth. It's like that record, right? When you think about somebody in office, I'll even say this, like the idea, you know, like they'd be like, oh, if you run for politics, people gonna search your past. They gonna find everything they can. And what that really speaks to is if a person lives in the light, whether they did things wrong, like the willingness to live in the light shows trustworthiness. It's like, okay, either they really turn from that, we can see a tangible shift in character. You're like, that's not who they are anymore. Like, this is what makes us relationally trustworthy. It's when we live in the light. Not every single statement might be for the public, but you live in the light in the areas where it's in the light. Somewhere, wherever God has put you, places of trust, places of people who are for you and that love you and see you for who you really are. They're like, oh, those things you did, that's not who you are, you know? It doesn't become a slander or condemnation. And this is how God begins to heal the soul, that we move fully into the light. And then we become safe places. We become a house of light for other people because we've yielded to the light to shine on us. And the light lives here. The light dwells here. And this is what God is teaching me about wealth. Abundance. You know, something my husband said, he said, money is currency. I know we say currency a lot, but currency implies movement. Where is it moving? Do you have vision for your money? Do you have vision? Do you care about community enough that when money comes into your life, your surroundings, the people in your life, their lives get better? Things are built, things are furthered, right? And this is a value of mine that's being grounded in me as I've developed my Firestarters community. It is all of that heart posture of currency flowing through good hearts changes the world. And this whole topic about our creativity moving again, having the boundaries that supports the life that we're meant to live, that supports the flow of the Spirit in our life. You have to be able to choose what you need. You have to be able to say no to things that's detrimental to you, to your purpose. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you push and shove people out of your life. It's like you live in such a way where that doesn't have a high place in your heart. God will come for those idols, that they not be the thing that's driving you, the thing that you're managing, the thing that you're defined by. So you may go through seasons where it's like, okay, you have to close the door to something until your internal isn't choosing that. And that's where you get real freedom, where you don't need control. You're not vulnerable to the world around you. You've changed. You're a different person now. But, so yeah, as God works this out in you, things are going to shift. Your reason for being is going to be different. And this is what God has taught me as I've let the light in my life. And I begin to be defined by God's voice in my life, not people. I can sustain, I can let other things, I can let people be people. I can let people be who they are. I'd rather somebody tell me who they are than to lie in my face. And that's a value of mine. That's what I want to live like. I want to give people permission to tell their truth to me. And I celebrate them because I know it was the truth, not because I liked it, not because it felt good. And yeah, that is a value that I'm seeing. And it's these types of heart choices that allows the truth to always be in my life, that I don't necessarily have this idea that I have to control the external, but I can celebrate and honor the good in people when they make a good choice. And telling the truth is a good choice, because then I know how to honor them. You can't honor a person who's lying to you because they're trying to get you to honor something that's not real for them. And if you can discern the truth, you need to honor the truth because it's going to help them see themselves. So God's been teaching me what love is. Love is the attribute that I am. If I am love, what would love do? Love wants people to see the truth because truth sets them free. So I don't want to be an enabler. If I really want to help people grow, help people heal, help people change. You can't always validate people's self-perceptions all the time, but love will show you how to host light so that they might see, you know. But something God was speaking to me about, I realized this weekend, I came to this point where I saw the desire of my heart above all the other desires because they contradict. That's why we have to face some desires, admit them, and get rid of them. But I desired above all else to make an impact. That's actually Rachel's desire, is I want to make an impact. That's how God created me. That's how God wired me. Y'all, this wind feels good to me. I hope y'all can hear me. But that's what I wanted. I want to make an impact. And my desire to not deal with what comes when you've chosen ultimately to impact. You're gonna have all kinds of stuff. Like the wrecking ball. I got an image of a wrecking ball. A wrecking ball has to be okay with the contact when it impacts. Not every impact, you know, you think of football, like linebackers, they impact each other. They each feel that. And I realized that's what I actually want to be. So I need to stop trying to control the external. What do you expect? If you say something that impacts somebody, it could hit a filter they have, and they'd be like, oh my God, you're this, you're that. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And then I go, oh, I don't like that they reacted that way. I'm going to unfriend them. I'm going to block them. I'm going to this. That's the thing that God was showing me. Well, you said you wanted to make an impact. Do you care for people enough that what they give to you is something that you still can love? Because didn't you say you wanted to impact people? So that's what I'm convicted of right now. God is showing me I have to choose love. Because basically, am I impacting people if I'm trying to control how they react to the impact? And so that's the idol in my heart that God showed me over the weekend, that I came to this like no on that wanting to feel good, you know, wanting to feel good at all times. And it's like loving people who are out of alignment doesn't always feel good. It doesn't feel good to say what people may actually need to hear and know that they might not be in your life for a while because you said it. I'm going to crank up my car. But, yeah, that's where I'm at. I realize I always had the option to make an impact. It was always an attribute that God designed me for. So how is it that the thing you're most naturally created for is like 15 years in delay? Right? I'm gonna make this impact one day. I'm gonna get some water, y'all. One sec. Got this big old canister that I can barely lift. I got like this massive stainless steel water, my Kangen water. But yeah, why is my impact in the future and not in the now? I have to see in my heart, I desire something more than my calling, more than my identity, more than my purpose, more than the word of God in my mouth. I desire to be cool. No, I don't know. Maybe there's an attribute of that. I was just joking, but when I look at that, I'm like, I want to be liked. Okay? I want what I create to be like visually beautiful. all these different things that God is like coming for. Like that the beauty is not in managing those things, it's in being authentic. It's in sharing what is real. It's in being a voice for the voiceless, not appealing to people to keep them in my life because they're not ready to see their own hearts. That's what God came for. Since I was in Kenya, a shift happened out there. And I began to speak on things that I hadn't talked about because I didn't want to lose people in my life. And God came for my idol. Even my own family, I know what I speak about doesn't always make people comfortable. But this is where I am, is like, do I want to make an impact? I'm made to make an impact. And if I'm ever feeling like, I don't know what to talk about, I don't know what content to make, it's more a reflection that I am not telling God yes. I've told God no. God gave me a flow. I am one with God. I'm hearing God. He is flowing and speaking to me and revealing things to me. And as wisdom comes, as discernment comes, and I'm carrying a message that I'm not letting out, it shows the idols in my heart. So this is my beginning of, God, what does total surrender look like? How do I love who I am enough that I don't need validation, approval from other people to cause me to be willing to obey God? That's the part that God called me on, is my addiction to that. So I mourned it. I mourned the loss of my creation of support and value built on something other than God. And as God showed me that, there's the loss of the way I managed my own life. And then I rest into the freedom of, no, God, I want to be who you created me to be. I want to be the voice you've made me to be. And whatever idol has to go, I'll go through the grieving process of letting go of that thing, and to realize, like, that's what held me back for so long. It was my addiction to wanting particular people's support and not trusting the process of do it without them. Do it without them. Be obedient. And the abundance, oh my God, the abundance of love and real support and real friendship that's pouring into my life. I'm so, so grateful. I honor every person that God has brought into my life. But if I'm addicted to their support, I'm over here not even like being in the relationships that God has given me. That's the part that God was showing me. So I saw God come for my idols. And then now it's like, it's in phases. Once the idol is really broken and extracted out of my heart, then God's like, go love them. And I follow the Spirit and what that looks like. What is love? It's whatever God has for me to flow through me to whoever he sends me to. And that ultimate anchor of being in the flow of the Spirit will lead all things. Where God prepares your heart to be soil to receive people in another season when they're ready, right? So it's like real love for people is when I love myself enough to stay in alignment with the Spirit in all things. And if the Spirit turns me that way, that's where I'm going, right? And it's like Joseph kept his heart clean, that he fed his whole family and took care of them in another season. That's what God's speaking to me about. Because Joseph had the power to say no. And he didn't do that. He didn't reject his family. He didn't reject anybody that he loved. And that's the love of God that God is training me in. God loves all people. But how you help people grow is different. It depends on their heart and what is needed in different time periods. And sometimes honoring people is letting them go, because you're honoring their actual choices right now. They are choosing these things, and God will show me how to be love in that reality, and how to drop things that's not condemnation and you need to be over here and you did this wrong and da da da. Maybe if you can speak it in love, it'll bear fruit. So that's what God is teaching me. So this comes back to, will I let the word that God has put in me come out? And for me, like I'm talking about creativity, my creativity is waking up, and it's like, maybe what I produce is beautiful, is powerful, is enough. But I didn't live in knowing that, because perfectionism and whoever voices is too big in my life for me to love what I am and what I add to the world. So that is the stuff that God is showing me, back to like, you have total freedom in this moment to do all that I've called you to do, and to flow with me, and to love your gifts. And there is time in the day for what I've actually called you to do. You just have to flow with me. You have to have the right boundaries. You have to have the right no in your heart. You have to say no to certain things to flow in the yes of God. Both of those matter. And there's rhythms that support your flow. There's rhythms that supports the way God has created you. We're all wired differently. Like the flow of the Spirit in our lives is going to be different. It doesn't become a religion. Everybody needs to do this. That's not what it is. It's really, that's why we need intimacy with God, because what is life-giving to me might be highly frustrating to another person. They can't live that way, you know? So that matters, that we don't just replicate one another and make a religion out of how to live. It's like, no, the Spirit of God, thank you, Margie. I'm glad that it's blessing you. The Spirit of God flowing through me is going to look different than the next person. And that wisdom, that clarity of who you are, the more you spend time with God, God is going to show you who you are and what you love and what would be life-giving to you, and what career, what type of work, what things, this, you know, the flow of how you live throughout the day, your downtime, your social time, that all varies on your personality and how God uses you. You know, you are created a certain way to deposit certain things in the earth, and only the one who created you can really show you that. And that's why we have to learn to trust ourselves, trust who God made us to be, and trust that individual leading of the Spirit. That's how it was meant. We weren't supposed to just all go sit in a building, honor this one person, and they're going to tell us how to live. Like, we're just all resources to one another, and we get to share life and pour into each other and give into each other. But none of us should be each other's God. So, yeah. So something God has given me is like no work on the weekends, just rest. Saturday, Sunday, rest, flow with me, fellowship with people, just be filled up. And it's more like ministry and being ministered to. And then God's showing me businesses during the week, Monday through Friday, and having my family time in the evening, honoring my relationship with my husband. Like, there's certain parameters that are just good for my energy, good for, it's me and God. This is me and God's intimacy, right? When you value something, you have parameters that protect it, that it's not a rule. Do you observe the Sabbath? Like, that ain't what it's about. But funny enough, I do rest on Saturdays. But like, that's me and God's intimacy. So that's what I see. It's like, it's love. I love being loved by God. I love my husband. I love my friends. I love these relationships. I have place in my life where we can freely be together. And I love my business. I love my clients. I love the people I get to minister to. I love the people I coach. I'm getting like music friends now. Like, God is bringing this music part of me alive again. And like, I have places where I choose this in my life, right? Where all the things that I love, the work that I do, I love. I love my products. I love the Kangen water, and being able to share those sorts of things with people and to see that those effects in their life. I love raising up entrepreneurs. I love helping people see the flame that they carry and to steward it and to help it grow and just to fan that in them. I love coaching. I love personality types. I love helping people see themselves and begin to walk in that. So like when I look at all of that, that was me honoring who God made me to be. You sometimes have to steward what you are enough beyond any ridicule that you birth a life you actually love, right? And then how do you flow in that day to day, moment by moment, that it doesn't overwhelm you? You could have 7 parts of your calling. There's a flow that lets you do all of that in flow, not in overwhelm, not in I'm stressed out, I'm hustling, and how do I manage all this? It's like I need to surrender certain things and trust God is guiding me. The end that I've seen, it will be. Therefore, I can rest and just flow with God. So that's a lot of what God is teaching me right now. And you're a creator. You're meant to create, deposit, and build, and share, and express. And we need the right boundaries of honor and self-love to flow in that, to live in that, to give to the world, and it be a joy. Not your service that you have to do. Are you using your gifts, and then people just using you up all over the place, and you're doing it to prove that you're serving God? That's not how our gifts were meant to be used at all. So yeah, guys, I bless you. I'm going to and hop off. But just so good spending this time with you. Just go in grace to hear the voice of God, to hear the flow, to honor yourself, and to do what you love. Live a life that you love, because the desires of your heart are for a reason. So that's it, guys. Love you. Talk to y'all soon.